Good evening. My name's Tim Lywicki. Just to give you a little bit of background, I'm the ugly partner in Major League Soccer in Miami. You know I'm referring to Simon. I first want to thank, I'm not sure if she's in the room, but Barbara and the YWCA. Barbara, you here? Thank you very much for hosting us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Barbara gave me a tour of the facility. It's amazing what she's doing here, and we're looking forward to being not only your neighbor, but your partner. So thank you. I also want to thank the commissioners, Commissioner Edmondson. We had a chance today to meet with her and make sure we understood what we were doing here tonight. She repeated to us exactly what you just heard, which is this is the beginning of a dialogue. This is the beginning of a partnership, and this is the beginning of a vision. And we are going to try to create this vision together and implement this vision together. And so we stand here tonight to learn. I also want to thank the mayor. He has been with us through thick and thin. This is not our first location. I didn't join the group until a few months ago, but I'm well aware that we had 2 other locations before I joined. We were working on the Marlins site. We had some issues there. We began to look at this site, and we began to be encouraged and enamored by the neighborhood. I actually very much like the neighborhood here, and I believe there's a way that we could create this vision and fit into the neighborhood and make it better for everybody. And obviously we are going to be very active at reaching out to the other neighborhoods in and around, including Commissioner Barrero's neighborhood, where I've driven and walked through Spring Garden, so I understand they're going to have some unique needs, some unique views, and some unique requests out of us. So again, we're here tonight to learn, to listen, and to hopefully begin to develop a dialogue on how we make this better. We have another entity that we pay attention to, which is the league. So Major League Soccer granted David Beckham and Simon Fuller a right to operate a franchise as part of David Beckham coming over and joining our league many years ago. I, in fact, negotiated that deal with David in Los Angeles when I was the president of AG. So I've known David, recruited David, brought him here, actually crafted this particular option, and I have a feeling and a commitment that I should help him finish this off, and I can't think of a better place for David to do it than Miami. The league has us under a timeline, and so we do pay attention to that. We will lose this option, and Miami will lose its opportunity to have an MLS club if we don't find a suitable home. And so over the 2-year process, there have been some owners that have lost faith in Miami. Over the 2-year process, there have been other communities like Sacramento and San Diego and San Antonio that believe they should jump ahead of Miami for an MLS franchise. We're going to have a lot of input and back and forth on how we do this right. But the one thing I've promised the mayor, we're not going to lose this chance to bring Major League Soccer to Miami. About 2 weeks ago, during the MLS Board of Governors annual meeting, we presented to them this site. We showed them, you're going to see a rough, what we did is we took the old building and just plopped it down on this site. This is not, as you heard from the commissioner, this is not the building that we're going to build here, but we wanted to demonstrate it would work here. We wanted to demonstrate that the site, in fact, would work and the stadium would fit on that site. So you'll see what they saw. And they unanimously approved this site. They came in and brought a team of experts that spent a week looking at this neighborhood, looking at the site, looking at our plans for mitigating traffic. They, like us, are very committed to building the most green stadium in the history of Major League Soccer, an LEED certified stadium, and a stadium that is built by and operated by this community. So they encouraged us to proceed. They have voted in favor of this site, and now we have to go back before them in the very near future with our ownership group and with our financing plan to show that this can work. So let me give you just a brief overview of what we're trying to do here and how we're going to try to do it. As I said, I've spent 38 years in professional sports. This would be about my 20th stadium arena that I built. I built everything from Staples Center and the Home Depot Center, StubHub Center in Los Angeles, to the Chicago Stadium, to the Houston Stadium, We've even built arenas in London, in Beijing, in Shanghai, and in Berlin. So we've worked in some tough places. We've worked in some tough neighborhoods. Never had one lawsuit, never had one complaint, never had one unfulfilled commitment in 38 years of doing this, and we certainly are not going to start here. So we come here with experience, we come here with knowledge, we come here with a track record, and we come here with a commitment towards trying to make this work for this community and for this city. We are very active in the community, so I personally believe that these sports teams are platforms to impact, in particular, kids. Sports figures have an amazing impact on kids. We can help get their attention, we can help guide them the right way, we can help teach them life's lessons, we can help get them out of the holes they occasionally can dig for themselves. I believe that this platform in Miami, with soccer as the world's most popular sport, is a tremendous opportunity to have an impact on the kids and the youth of this community and of the city, and we're going to do it. We will be very active in the community. David believes in this, Simon believes in this, and this has been a mainstay for me for 38 years of operating sports franchises and being a part of communities. So you're going to hear a lot about our outreach. You're going to hear a lot about commitments we're prepared to make. We've already made a substantial commitment to be a part of the Miami-Dade School District, and the superintendent, Alberto, and us continue to have that commitment. Even if we change sites, we are going to be active, not just in sports and not just in their community programs, but also with band, with music, with arts, and with culture. MLS, as a league, has been renowned and, in fact, has been awarded some of the highest honors for their commitment in the community, their diversification, and their ability to take soccer, the world's great sport, and use it as a platform to change kids' lives. So you could go look at all of the different initiatives that the league has, and you'll begin to see a lot of the initiatives we're going to bring here to Miami and to Miami-Dade. In addition to that, our partners are very active. Everything from building soccer fields in the community, which is something we want to do. So where we have community centers, youth centers that need a soccer field, need an upgrade, we're going to be active in doing that. We want to make sure that we allow any kid in this community that wants to play soccer an opportunity to play soccer. So every team, and we encourage you to go to websites, every team has an active not-for-profit foundation. There is a track record here, and you could go check on MLS sites to see what these teams do in their community, the impact they've made, the way they conduct themselves, the way the players conduct themselves, and the outreach. You can pretty well assume we're not only going to do everything you see these other teams doing, but more here. We are committed to creating a not-for-profit foundation. It will be very active with the mayor and the community, very active with the superintendent and the schools, and very active with those organizations that are located in this community that we can make an impact with. So we have a unique ownership group. David Beckham and Simon Fuller started this push. David is the chairman. He will be the governor. I will join them as a part owner, so I'm investing my money and my family's money into this because I believe in Miami. Marcelo is an active partner, the president and CEO of Sprint. He is part of this community, or grew up in this community, and will continue to be a part of this group as well. And we expect in the near future you'll hear us announce another partner that we will be bringing in that will also bring with them resources and the financial ability to build the stadium. I want to make this point loud and clear because I know there's been some miscommunication. So first and foremost, we are buying the site. We're not asking for the county to ultimately give us the land. We are paying a fair market value for the site, and we have a contract with the private property owners for that particular site. So unlike our last site that we chose where we couldn't come to terms, we have come to terms on this and have a process with the county where they will assess the value of their property. We will pay fair market value, and we will write them a check. We are not asking them to give us anything. In addition to that, we will privately build the stadium. We are not asking the city or the county for a penny. There will be no subsidies, period. And I heard even today, some people came up and said, well, the CRA is going to pay for it. Not true. Your tax dollars should go to schools, education, transportation, and safety. We're not going to take your tax dollars for a soccer stadium. We'll build it privately. You have our word on that. Finally, there's been conversations about us not ultimately paying property tax. That's not true. We will be assessed a valuation on our property, and we will pay a property tax back to the city and the county. We're not asking for relief, and we're not trying to make sure we get out of that obligation. This stadium will be privately operated, privately funded. We will pay our property taxes, and we will put the capital up to keep the stadium in a first-class condition throughout its term. So the other thing you need to understand that is our track record, and again, we have 38 years worth of these projects. We are going to seek out LEED certification. So we want this to be the most environmentally friendly and the most green stadium ever built in Major League Soccer. So for those of you that live in this neighborhood, our commitment is to build you a world-class venue that is also the most environmentally friendly green stadium ever built in the history of Major League Soccer. If we have a path to gold, we're going to try to get there. It's the hardest, most difficult certification to get, but it is certainly something we will try to achieve if we can. In addition to that, we've heard a lot of conversations and people questioning not enough parking, and we're going to have to build lots of parking garages. We believe it's time to build a stadium. We believe it's time in Miami to build a point of destination that is geared towards mass transportation. And so what we're not going to do at the end of the day is take your neighborhood and build a bunch of concrete structures that are used 30 times a year. The city, under its leadership, the county, under its leadership, have made a commitment to mass transportation. Well, we're going to use it. Soccer is a unique sport. It's a community sport. It's a social sport. We're used to walking to the game. The march to the game is a great tradition in soccer, and we're certainly going to use it here for our supporters as part of what we create as a tradition in Miami. There are 6,800 parking spaces within a half a mile of this stadium. There is heavy rail and light rail and new stations being built as we speak within 3 or 4 blocks of this stadium. You have this magnificent asset called the Miami River that we believe we could begin to utilize to bring people in and out of the stadium site. So the other commitment we're going to make here is building parking garages next to the stadium means we polarize your community 30 times a year or 25 times a year, however many soccer games we play. We're not going to do that. We're going to find a way to make sure that this improves the neighborhood, improves the experience, and that we don't take property and build parking garages that are going to be used 30 times a year. In addition to that, we're going to try to figure out a way so that we complement the neighborhood. So we're not going to build a lot of retail. We've looked at the other facilities in town and we know what they did. We want to make the retail that's there better, the restaurants, the bars, whatever commercial businesses are there. Our job is not to compete with you. Our job is to try to ultimately build a soccer stadium, and that's what we're going to do. We will be active in trying to do other events, but the reality is this will be a palace for the sport of soccer. It'll be committed towards soccer. If we could do some additional things with the school district for some of their band competitions, some of their football games, we will. But at the end of the day, we're a soccer stadium. We're not a shopping center, we're not a retail mall, and we're not going to build lots of restaurants that compete with the restaurants in the district. Finally, we will build this on time, we will build this on budget, and we will build this safely. And we will build it with workers and contractors and businesses that are part of this community. We will be committed to diversity. We will look towards the neighborhood and look towards the city and the county, and we will utilize whenever humanly possible businesses and developers and subcontractors that are a part of this community to help build this stadium. This is your stadium. We may be paying for it, but at the end of the day, we want you to build it. And every chance we have to be a mirror image of our community in Miami, with the people that build it, the companies that build it, and the people that work at the stadium, we will be a mirror image of this community. You have our commitment on our diversity of the stadium and the people that will build it. So let me just quickly show you a look of what this, we just simply took the stadium that was going to be built in Marlins and plopped it down. I can guarantee it's not going to look like this, because as you heard from both commissioners, this is a work in progress and we're just starting this. This will be designed based on, to a large extent, your input, and I promise our lights will never go out as well. So this is for the purpose of showing the Board of Governors of Major League Soccer that the stadium actually fits on the site. It does. This is a 25,000 seat stadium. We're committed to building a roof. We believe in Miami. We have to cover the seats, so we will. We're committed, though, that this will be an open-air stadium with a grass field. It's important that we play on grass for our players. That allows us to get the best players in the world that want to come and play in Miami. But we will build a stadium that can situate itself well on that site and be able to get people in and out of the stadium. We are asking the city for the ability to vacate 7th Street, which will go in the middle of this. We're working through that process as we speak, and we believe we have an agreement in principle about the timing of that particular process. Again, this is a rough design. It is a first look. It will not end up, my bet is it will not end up looking like this. But we have budgeted about $220 million to privatize the stadium and build it here. And this is a fairly good indication of the scope of the stadium and how it will sit on the site. Finally, we are building a training center here. We're building an academy here. We will build that first. We are committed to being in the development business for soccer. We're committed to building the best training and academy in Major League Soccer. We have identified a site. We will be working on that site in the near future. We will actually be up and operating with our training, development, and academy before we even have the stadium up and operating. And again, that will be a mirror image of the community. So the kids will come from Miami. The kids will come from this region. We will give them a world-class academy that they aspire to be a part of, and we will underwrite 100% of the cost of that academy and those training fields as well. So with that, we're going to turn this over to you. We will turn the meeting back to the commissioner and let her begin to decide how you give us input and questions you may have on our project. And last but not least, a great turnout tonight. I appreciate everybody spending your evening with us, giving you the feedback, and in particular, I appreciate the neighborhood with an openness to finding us a new home for Major League Soccer in Miami. Thank you. Yeah.